Welcome to the first tutorial lesson on using Inventor. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to navigate parts of the interface. We're going to learn how to navigate the 3D environment. We're going to learn how to make a sketch and then how to extrude that sketch. We're going to learn how to use a circle, rectangle, and text tool. We're going to scale some text, make a hole, and also we'll be editing our sketches and editing our features after we make them to show how easy it is to make something like this sweet fancy name tag. All right, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a new project. If you go into the top left corner where the orange file is located, you can click File, New. This will give you a menu and it'll give you some options. We want to make a standard part. That is pre-selected for us, so I can then set Create. Sometimes when you create a new part, it might take a little bit for that to look like it's doing anything. If you look down the bottom left corner, that's where loading text will be. So if it's thinking really hard and it seems like it's not doing anything, look in this bottom left corner, and if it's saying it's doing stuff, it means it is. Let's talk about the interface a little bit. There are a lot of buttons. And if you go above the buttons, there are a lot of tabs with even more buttons. This software is designed for professionals, so it has a lot of features. But a lot of those features we don't really need. So most of them we're going to ignore. And I'm going to show you the ones that we can safely focus on. The ones we care about first are the sketch, start a 2D sketch. And this is how we're going to start everything that we're going to do. We're always going to start with a sketch. When I click Start 2D Sketch, it brings up, at least the very first time, this sort of navigation where we can select the plane or two-dimensional surface we want to draw on. I can draw on the XY plane, the XZ plane, or the that's the XZ plane, and this is the YZ plane. It doesn't really matter for what we're doing which plane we start on. I'm going to click this one. When I click this, I'm saying I want to draw my 2D drawing on the surface. And you'll notice if you look up at the top, my tools have changed automatically. We're now ready to start drawing in 2D. To draw in 2D, it's as simple as clicking the shape I want and clicking. With the rectangle, I'm going to click once, and then I'm going to click a second time. If I want to click the circle, the first click I place will place the center of the circle, and the second click I place will place the exterior of the circle. If I want to draw some lines, I can click once, and every time I click, I'll get another line. If you need to look around or see more of your workplace, let me adjust this window so we can see everything. There are a couple options. Your first option is this cube in the top right corner. You can click on it with the left mouse button and drag it, and you'll start looking around in 3D. Remember, I'm drawing a 2D drawing, so it kind of looks like I'm looking at something drawn on paper. If it gets really wonky, you can click the words instead, and those words will bring us back to a flat view. If I want to view it from the side, I can click this arrow, but there's not a lot to see on that side, so I'm going to come back the other way. A moment ago, this was horizontal instead of being vertical. I can rotate that by going over to my cube by clicking this arrow to the top right of it, which shows it curving over. Excellent. If I want to zoom in on a bit of my drawing, what I really like to do is I like to use the mouse wheel. If I move the mouse wheel one direction, I'm going to zoom out. And if I move it the other way, I'm going to zoom in. When people first use this piece of software, this is really weird because when you're used to zooming in a photograph, it zooms kind of based on the middle of the photograph. But this drawing it doesn't know how big we want to make it. This drawing could be 1 inch across. This drawing could be hundreds of feet across. It doesn't know. It needs to be ready for anything. So wherever you put your mouse, that's where it's going to zoom to or zoom away from. Let me demonstrate. If I want to zoom on the center of the circle, I can put my mouse on the center of the circle and it'll allow me to zoom in. Instead, if I wanted to zoom over on this corner, if I put my mouse over there, it will zoom in on that corner. If I'm zoomed in and I want to move around, I can click in that mouse wheel button and drag the entire drawing. This is super useful. Between zooming, dragging the drawing, and using this navigation cube, we can see our drawing or model in any angle. All right, I'm going to get rid of a few things here I don't need because I want to make a really sweet name tag. I'm going to start with my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and draw a rectangle that I think looks like a good size. Like if my name's longer, I might make that rectangle a little bit longer. If my name is shorter, I might make it not quite as long because my name's going to go across here. I want some kind of features in it. I want it to be neat. So I'm going to grab a circle because I want this side to be rounded. When I move my mouse around, sometimes you'll notice that I get a green dot instead of a yellow dot. And what that means is that I'm snapping to a special spot. In this case, the special spot I'm snapping to is the middle of this line. I'm going to place the center of my circle where I've got that green dot popping up. And then I'm going to move my mouse until I get to the edge of one of the sides. Then I'm going to click again. That will draw my circle, and this circle will be the exact same diameter as the length of this line. All right, there's some extra stuff here I don't need. I don't want this extra circle in here or these lines here. I can get rid of those, and I can use those using the trim tool. The trim tool looks like a pair of scissors. When I click the trim tool, I can click on lines, and if there's something beyond that line, it'll try intelligently to get rid of the part that it thinks I don't want. Here's another example. If I were to draw this, I could get rid of this line and this line and this line. And see how it's not getting quite rid of all of it because it's thinking, oh, well, maybe you want it to be lined up with that. I actually don't want any of this line, so I'm going to get rid of it all. I'm going to then click Finish Sketch. Once you've done a 2D drawing, you always click Finish Sketch. The next step, once you have a finished sketch, is to extrude. That is up here next to where we started our sketch. When I click Extrude, sometimes if it's a simple shape, it knows automatically what I'm probably trying to extrude. Later on, we might have to click the profile where we want to extrude. It might look like this. I click Select Profile, and then I click this, and then I've selected what I want. But you don't need to do that because if yours is like mine, it shows it automatically. I can click this arrow, and I can drag it up or drag it down. I'm going to drag it up just a little bit so it looks like not too thick. Then I can say OK. Once I've done this, I want you to look over here to our model browser. You'll see now that there's something called Extrusion 1, and if I hover over it, the Extrusion 1, it glows green. That feature, that solid piece glows green. If I press the plus next to it and expand it down, I can see that there's a Sketch 1 in there. I can edit the sketch by quickly double-clicking the little picture of the square. And then I'm back in my sketch. And this would give me an opportunity to maybe make a change. So maybe I want this side to look a little bit cooler. So I'll take a little chunk out of it. I'll use my trim tool, and then I'll click Finish Sketch. When I click Finish Sketch, notice how it automatically updated my picture. So I can edit the sketch at any time, go backwards in my design, and it will go forwards and try to keep all the changes I made based on what I did to it before. That's pretty neat. If I was like, oh no, I really wanted this to be thicker or whatever, I can right-click Extrusion 1 and go to Edit Feature, And now I can change how much it's extruded. Okay, I want to add my name to this nameplate. To do that, I'm going to start a 2D sketch. Every time you want to make something new or add on to it, it's always going to start with a 2D sketch. Click Start 2D Sketch, and now I need to click the surface I want it to be on. I could put it on this side or this side. I want it on the top, so that's where I'm going to click. Now I get my sketching tools back, and this time I'm going to use the text tool. Clicking on text, I will then click about where I want the text. We're going to fine tune it after we put it in. I'm going to put my last name and then say, okay. Now there's a couple problems with this. Yours may not come in at an angle like mine. I want to change this. Right now, I want it to say my last name going this way, left to right, not tiny down here, and I want it bigger. The first tool I'm going to use is the rotate tool. And the rotate tool is a little bit weird. The first thing is it wants me to select what I want to rotate. Easy enough, I'm going to click my name. But then it seems like nothing happens, like I can't rotate. And this is a part that's weird. It doesn't know what to rotate around. Do I want to rotate around this corner? Do I want to rotate around the middle? Do I want to rotate around this eye? Do I want to rotate around something way over here? So you have to select your center point. When you click this red clicker, you are now placing your center point. If I place it somewhere near the middle of my name, it's going to rotate around the middle of my name. Just to demonstrate, I'm going to click the center point again, but I'm going to click it now in a corner. And now I'm rotating around that new point. Again, as this is a software for professionals, it might be really important to rotate something around a very specific point. As I'm just rotating my name, I'm not that worried about it. All right, now that I'm done rotating, I can click Done. But I have another problem. It's still too small. So from there, I'm going to click the Scale tool. This is very similar and will work almost exactly like the rotate tool, where my first click is selecting what I want to make bigger or smaller. But then nothing happens until I select, this time they call it a base point, but it's still a red clicker. And this is what it wants me to grow off of. If I click in the middle of my name, it will grow from the middle of my name. If I click from one side, it will grow from that side. Again, really useful to have, not super critical for making a name tag. I click again to finish once I have it as I like it, and then say Done. To move my name, it's actually really easy. I can just click and drag my name wherever I want it. But I'm not done yet. I can click Finish Sketch when I'm happy with my text, but the text is not 3D. The text is just kind of like a drawing on it. To make it 3D, I'm going to click Extrude and then select what I want to extrude. In this case, I'm going to extrude my name. I can click and look at it from different angles using my navigation cube. Then I'm going to say, OK. That's looking pretty great. I want to make a hole. I'm going to come up to this Hole tool, and I'm going to click it. Then I can click about where I want the hole to go. In this case, I clicked right there. If it's not where I want it, I can click this orange ball and drag it to a different spot. If I want it to be bigger or smaller, I can type in a bigger or smaller number. But the number chosen right there, it looks pretty good to me. All I need to do to finish is say, OK. Now, I want to direct your eyes over to the model navigator. And we can see that we have an extrusion 1, an extrusion 2, and a hole. And when I hover over each one of them, each one of those changes. I can open it, and I can edit those sketches. You can either double-click the picture, not the word, the picture, or you can right-click, edit. And I could change it to, instead of saying hill, I can make it say hill with an exclamation point. And when I click Finish Sketch, it's added that in. And you can do this at any point. If I decided this extrusion 1 wasn't thick enough, I can either double click it quickly or right click edit feature, and I can make it be a bit bigger. And you can see that even though I changed something at the very beginning, the modeling software keeps it going all the way along. All right, now that I've made hill with an exclamation point, it's kind of the wrong spot. I'll drag it over. And there we go. That's looking pretty great. This is our first experience with Inventor, and we will learn so much more in the coming videos. I hope you enjoyed this.